How does bioresonance work on health? The basis of our reality resides in the fact that everything vibrates in the universe, since everything in the universe is made up of atoms. Even the air we breathe is made up of these particles. These particles vibrate unstoppably because their electrons revolve around the atoms and generate energy fields. This energy is electromagnetic and arises from the attraction that occurs between the different electrons, which gives way to the formation of molecules. Molecules give rise to material structures. In living beings they give way to cells, tissues, and organs. However, the vibration is unique, different, and according to the number of electrons and the affinity of their atoms. Life is organized based on these vibrations, which engender specific information and allow living beings to carry out a certain design. Therefore, the human condition in principle is not determined by DNA. Our DNA with its 25,000 genes is like that of a chimpanzee, since it is comparable in proteins and genes, and yet there is a clear difference between the two species. DNA is a selection of proteins shared by all living beings, which is the central enigma, and shapes the diversity of elements that gives way to worms, dogs, monkeys, and humans. The difference, therefore, lies in the information, its association, its structure, and its harmonization. This information is the vibrating energy of each atom, molecule, and tissue, developing in a certain environment. Although this vibration is unique for everyone, it is also shared and resonates between different living beings, objects, their environment, and their time. Life is designed with a limited duration, which implies that everything that is born must eventually die. Resonance is essentially information, and this allows the continuity of the species. Resonance or vibration moves through various frequency waves, which, when captured by our senses, reach the brain as electromagnetic impulses that are transmitted through the neural network. Sensory receptors in our body capture information such as sound, vision, touch, taste, and smell. Once received, these impulses activate multiple connections in our neural network, stimulating various areas of the brain such as memory that allows us to recognize and interpret sensory experiences such as sounds, images, smells, sensations, and tastes. The brain's hippocampus stores a large amount of information in the form of number patterns like how we can store bits on a USB. Therefore, the information is basically a serial list of numerical and alphanumeric codes because they are easily accessible to the hypothalamus, our brain computer. These codes are a sequence of instructions for cells to perform different functions in our body. Information operates in the different energy fields of our organism. Decoding these codes activates rapid responses at different levels. This alphanumeric faculty is used by bioresonance to establish communication with the organism at different levels. The body understands and responds to these codes because they are like those it contains in memory. This is the basis of human communication, since to refer to something we name it without having to show an image, only words can be enough to make us understand. And the words have in part an energetic charge that can be numbered. This mathematics is understood very well by our body. As we can see, there is a coherent order between the information and how we perceive and exist with this reality, and since it is above it is below, we can understand that there are a series of universal laws that vibrate and influence the entire cycle of our existence and of the whole universe. When we alter this order, we enter into chaos, and this can manifest in our body with a disharmony that can ultimately make us sick. The existence of reality depends on the perception of the observer, since it is the mind and the brain of the individual that give it meaning. Beyond this interpretation, reality operates differently and transcends our perception. However, communication, by transmitting information, makes it possible for two minds to share a similar version of reality, even though their perceptions generate different responses. By assigning a name to each object, an individual or situation, a code is being assigned that produces a sound, visual and sensory frequency. From a person's point of view, it is created, collated, and stored as information. Each coded instruction is related to a specific stimulus. This triggers responses that encompass neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, and hormones, giving rise to thoughts, emotions, and physical reactions. The human design is programmed to perform various functions at different levels that ensure the survival of the species, encompassing multiple personal aspects. To achieve survival, the body seeks to maintain homeostasis, achieving a balance with the environment in which it develops, regardless of the adverse conditions that it may face. In situations of chronic imbalance maintained over time, the body can adapt and survive despite the difficulties, or else get sick and die. Bioresonance starts from stimuli, which are frequencies of information, and operates through the association of codes for their identification. Separate the harmful or disharmonic information from the harmonic. To rectify it, reverse the polarity from plus to, and from, to plus, so that the organism rejects them, like the foreign body reaction. Subsequently, the therapy can facilitate homeostasis to balance said disharmony with bioresonance, seeking self-regulation of the body. The mechanical functionality of the body requires at every change physical energy, in the form of nutrients and food, to feed the cells and allow them to carry out the new instructions. If the necessary information codes do not exist in the brain's hippocampal database, this will prevent the organism from obeying the instructions given with bioresonance. This means that the necessary information must be provided both to eliminate toxins and to feed the body. The lack of necessary nutrients can prevent physical and dynamic changes from taking place, causing self-defense resistance. Since the instinctive brain will not invest effort for such radical changes if there are not the necessary resources, since to survive what it does is safeguard the reserves. The presence of toxic information, such as radiation, electromagnetic disturbances, toxins, and negative messages, as well as physical damage, will slow down the body's response to bioresonance, so other therapies and complementary treatments will be necessary. Diseases or bodily damage do not develop abruptly, since homeostasis constantly works to balance the system, which prevents us from detecting an illness in time. Or, a person becomes aware of his illness when discomfort or pain appear. Here not only bioresonance comes into play, which in combination with other therapies and treatments can detect a disease early and limit the time for improvement. It is not uncommon for people to come to the consultation who, upon discovering that they are sick, come looking for quick, painless, and low-cost solutions. That after feeling better, they decide to no longer invest in their health, because since there is no symptom, they think they have recovered. When the true path to recovery begins after the improvement of symptoms. This is therefore the beginning of fully recovering from a condition that was slowly occurring, and this is, in principle, the true road to recovery. Maintaining ineffective approaches such as symptomatic therapies, stress, and lack of healthy habits can lead to deterioration of the organism, even if there are no obvious symptoms. By understanding that resonance is a natural and constant phenomenon, it becomes evident that the organism can transform information towards a healthier and more harmonious state. By utilizing the bioresonant ability of the body, devices with appropriate harmonic frequencies can be used to assist the body in making these changes toward full recovery. This works as a reminder to avoid returning to your previous state of entropy, that is, to get you out of your comfort zone. What awaits us in the immediate future? It is true that AI has marked a significant turning point. This was anticipated to happen around 2050, but the pandemic and lockdown hastened this process. Computers and smartphones became vital tools, unleashing a profound transformation in an environment such as money, employment, knowledge, and especially health. In terms of health, the current evolution is presented as follows. Health informatics and AI robotics are experiencing rapid advancement. The pharmaceutical chemical industry has reached its peak and is now facing a decline due to growing doubts about the efficacy of drugs, especially after the pandemic. Emotional intelligence, EI, is gaining relevance, motivated by the pandemic crisis that has transformed relationships, friendships, and has exacerbated the issue of loneliness. Natural health approaches are gaining strength as an alternative to conventional medicine in response to disease. Although with challenges, bioresonance is beginning to gain ground, albeit with difficulty because most people look for solutions with the existing paradigms of medicine. The response of people to this paradigm shift is as follows. In the past, health institutions reached their peak and monopolized all aspects of health, limiting it to clinical, pharmaceutical care and surgical procedures. This resulted in an excluding approach to prevention, convalescence, sports, nutritional and emotional health. This campaign prevailed for approximately 60 years, persuading people that doctors were solely responsible for their health. This became the norm, and most relied on a health system focused on illnesses, accidents, and hospital solutions. In addition, Social Security promoted rapid recovery for work resumption, reducing costs and hospital beds. In general, people got used to depending on health institutions, believing that they would be responsible for their well-being. This conditioned the belief that health is simply the absence of disease. In addition, having Social Security, many assumed that they would not need to invest in themselves and that doctors would solve their health problems. It was overlooked that health implies more than preventing diseases, encompassing a whole culture of optimal and functional well-being. Today, people from the generations from the baby boom to 2002 cling to this type of mentality, where doctors hold authority over disease, health and life. However, the pandemic motivated many people to look for healthy alternatives, not only to treat ailments not resolved by conventional medicine, but also to promote an alternative for group well-being. I hope with all this, has made it more or less clear how bioresonance works, and what are the fundamentals for which it works. What awaits us, and the change in mindset that we are required to make to maintain good health. Because if we don't think about ourselves, nobody is going to do it.
Muchas gracias.